administration is recommending that all Americans, including the young and healthy, work to engage in schooling from home when possible, avoid gathering in groups of more than 10 people, avoid discretionary travel, and avoid eating and drinking at bars, restaurants, and public food courts.
Restaurant businesses and food businesses are very tenuous. They don't have a lot of cash reserves, and they go from week to week. And that's the fact of the matter. I've been in the business my whole life.
Restaurants in the U.S. are reeling from social distancing measures aimed to slow the spread of the coronavirus pandemic. The industry employs more than 15 million people in the United States, and many of them have either already lost their jobs or are worried about losing their jobs. Restaurants, large and small, are doing the best they can to navigate the economic shock brought on by the pandemic containment initiatives.
So the COVID shutdowns are probably the biggest existential crisis that this industry has ever faced.
The National Restaurant Association estimates that between March, April, and May of 2020, sales will decline by $225 billion. But beyond just lost sales, many smaller and independently owned restaurants are focused simply on survival, and owners are worried about being forced to close their doors permanently.
People really liking the idea of neighborhood deliveries and or family takeout meals. And I've seen a lot over and over again on social media about how they hope restaurants will consider doing those services after the situation has passed, which would be great. The unfortunate part, though, is doing those services are so inefficient for food service that it's where most people are actually just breaking even. They're not making any money off of those situations. So they're really doing it to survive rather than to make money during this time. And that's what a lot of the average customers don't realize, is that this is a survival tactic.
In this era of social distancing, restaurant workers have been hit particularly hard, with millions of people getting laid off part-time or absolutely for good.
For nearly a month, unemployment numbers have skyrocketed, shattering all records. Over 16 million Americans have filed jobless claims. Restaurants, bars, and cafes are among the very hardest hit.
Have you had to fire any employees due to the coronavirus? And if so, how many?
Well, fire is the wrong word.
Or layoff, is that the correct word?
It's correct. Laid off quite a few. Some have chosen to be furloughed. The difference is staying on the books versus off the books. So I'd say about half chose to be furloughed and the other half chose to go ahead and go on unemployment.
My name's Kiana, and I'm making this video to share that I lost my job. I work at a restaurant, and my fiance also works with me as well. We both lost our jobs about 4 weeks ago. We've been on quarantine for about a month and a half, and without an income, we do have bills that are piling up. We have rent and utilities and internet and our phone bill.
Is there any timetable on when the stores will reopen?
Unfortunately, no. That's all dependent on the regulations that we have with the state of Alabama and the nation. So, for example, our Low Mill Arts shop has been completely suspended because the management of the property, it's an art center, there's 250 studios, and management decided that we will only be allowed to access property for people who are in studio. No public was allowed on property anymore. And that was our number one producing shop. And so that one's been suspended indefinitely because it's supposed to follow the school systems, but the schools are out for the rest of the year. So they haven't come up with a policy since then. Our other stores are still operating carry out, curbside, and or delivery. So for example, our downtown Pizzette store, they have also closed it off to the public, but we can still do curbside and delivery from there.
Are there any other ways the coronavirus has affected business?
Yes and no. As far as other ways, I'd say it's just really forced our customer base to adapt to a lot of things that we've been trying to push for a while anyway. And so one of those things is our website. We are entering our 7th year as a family operated business. And since month 1, 7 years ago, when we were one night a week at the farmer's market, we've had a website. But our website sales have generated probably less than 5% of our total sales base. And people are always like, well, maybe you should make a website. We're like, website. And so this situation has really forced people to take on that challenge of changing their buying behaviors as well as learning to brew tea at home.
And is there anything else you'd like to add?
If this is the culture you want, if you want to keep the texture of what your society looks like, you've got to support the local businesses during this time. It's the time now for the community to really say, you know what, we appreciate what you're doing here. We appreciate that you're taking extra steps to keep us safe. We appreciate that you gave, $5,000 a year towards my school's different projects. We appreciate that you know my name and you know my order. And so those are the things that people have to really decide on and vote right now as we're going into a forced recession in our economy, because you can't shop everywhere. You can't do everything. And so it's really deciding where your dollars go and focusing on those businesses that you really want to see at the end of this.